Do you want to make your Frye boots look new again? Well, me and my wife found these Frye Veronica harness boots at Savers. We picked them up for around $14, which is a great deal considering that they retail on the Frye website for around $400, and you can buy them used on eBay for $100 plus. So $14, good deal. But they still need a little bit of attention to make them look as good as possible. So whether you've been wearing Fryes for a while and you want to make them look new again, or you did like what we did and thrifted a pair and want to make them look brand new, well, I'm gonna go through my process here and bring new life to these Frye Veronica boots. Let's get into it.
I'm just here to connect ya, and then I'll be on my way.
Hey everybody, my name is Jeremiah Craig. I am a cowboy boot enthusiast and singer-songwriter. I make videos all the time here on YouTube about cowboy boots and Western wear, so if that's something that you find interesting, click that subscribe button. I'm doing men's and women's boots on occasion, so I try to do as much content for everybody. And these pair of Frye Veronica boots look incredible, especially for the fact that we got them for $14. The sticker price was $18, but all you really have to do to get an extra, 20% off or whatever, is just donate something, and Savers will give you a coupon before you go in. So I definitely recommend bringing in a small bag of like t-shirts or cups that you don't use anymore, just to get that extra percentage off. So we're gonna go through bringing this pair of boots back today because the edge of the outsole is a little worn down. It still has the original outsole, and there's lots more wear to be had on this pair of boots. It's in really good condition, so I'm looking forward to making these look as good as possible. Now, I'm going to leave out the right boot. Let's do the left boot for this one so that we can compare when this is done. So I'm just gonna put this back here. All right, before we get into the cleaning and the conditioning and the polishing, I'm gonna show you guys what I have here, and you guys can choose whether or not you wanna get all of it or some of it. Links are in the description, and they're all affiliate links just to help me continue this channel going. It's not gonna make any of these products more expensive. It's just a nice way for you to help out the channel in the process. So let's start off with, you just need some water. Just a little dish of water, nothing too fancy. And then this other liquid that I have here is water and isopropyl alcohol. It's a 50-50 mix, and I use that for cleaning the insides of the boots because these are used. You can also use vinegar. I just don't like the smell of vinegar lingering around a pair of boots for a while. But if you don't mind it, then feel free to use vinegar instead. You'll also need a small brush with plastic bristles, a little bigger brush. I guess it doesn't have to be bigger. You can get a small one, but this is the most popular size of a horsehair brush. You'll need a little bit of saddle soap, some Bic 4 leather conditioner for these, some black cream polish. Now, some people will also use a wax polish, but I think the cream polish is accepted more by more people. Some people have issues with wax polish, so if you're thinking about, restoring a pair of boots, making them look better, and then reselling them on Poshmark or eBay or something, it's probably best to go with a cream polish. And I also have a little bit of edge dressing for the side of the sole and the heel. You'll also need some rags, like some ripped up old t-shirts or whatever. Let's start off by just wiping the boot down, getting the dust off of it. Next up, let's do some saddle soap. This is a leather cleaner. And if you do use saddle soap, remember that you should also do a conditioner after the fact because it does dry out leather quite a bit. And what I like to do, this is my process, and I'm sure a lot of people have their own process. And if you do have your own process, be sure to put that in the comments section so that if somebody doesn't like the way that I'm doing things, watching right now, they can look down there and find something that fits their process a little bit better. you know, caring for boots is a very personal thing, and you'll find that a lot of times it's passed down through a family. So people get pretty tied to the way that their family takes care of leather products, which is really cool. I have the same thing. For the saddle soap, I like to dip the brush into the water and then bring it over to the saddle soap until you get a foamy look, kind of like this. You can kind of see it foaming up there on the brush, as you can see. And then once you get a nice layer of foam on the brush, that's when we can start brushing down the boot with that saddle soap. So let's get at it. And you want it to foam up a little bit. There's nothing wrong with that. Make sure that you get in the welt where the leather from the foot meets the side of the boot at the bottom. That's where a lot of dust and dirt is gonna be. And if you find some boots with white stitching, this saddle soap will help bring that white back and make it really, really bright. So make sure you get right in there and clean up that welt. Next up, we're just gonna wanna wipe off the excess soap here. There we go. All right, once we have the excess soap off, I'm gonna let this dry for a little bit and do the inside of the boot. Now the inside does have some staining from jeans and things. I don't think we're gonna be able to get rid of that. It's not that big of a deal. But the main thing that we wanna do here is just to disinfect it, just to stay safe. Leather does a pretty good job of, you know, staying pretty clean itself most times, unless you're really trying to work a boot, which if you come across a boot like that, I don't recommend you buying it. But I like to just, you know, damp a rag with that alcohol and water mixture, that 50-50 mixture, and just sort of gently rub it in here. It's nothing too serious. You want to be a little bit careful because alcohol can stretch leather. So I would recommend that if you do this with alcohol and not vinegar, to wait until it dries completely before wearing them, or they might stretch out. The boots might stretch out a little bit more than what you want and end up looking sloppy. So just a quick disinfecting here, and then we can go back to working on the outside of the boot. There we go. Hell yeah. Okay, so the outside of the boot here is pretty dry enough to go on to the next step, which is the leather conditioning step. I like to use Bic 4 leather conditioner for boots like this, where I'm also gonna be doing a polish or a cream or something, just because some leather conditioners that are like wax-based or like a mink oil, they won't work so well with the creams and the wax after you apply those. So Bic 4 does a good job with those when you're trying to add things on top of it. So I like that for this reason. And all you really need to do is just sort of put some on here and rub it in. That's it. That's all you need to do. It's pretty simple, like this. You can use your hands, you can use a rag, put that Bic 4 in everywhere that you can, and add more as necessary. I do have a little bit of excess, it feels like, on the top here, so I'm just gonna take that excess and put it on the inside as well. Just to condition that leather on the inside after we sort of stressed it out a little bit with that isopropyl alcohol water mixture. Just a little bit. I think that's probably all it will need. These boots are feeling great now. They really needed that conditioning. The next step that I like to do after the conditioner has dried a little bit and it's feeling nice and ready for a little bit of cream polish, What you'll need here is a black cream polish, a rag to apply the polish, and a horsehair brush. I would recommend that if you have a couple of different colors of boots, like brown and black, and have polishes for both of them, that you also have dedicated brushes for those colors as well, because colors can transfer. It's not that big of a deal going from brown to black, but it is a big deal going from black to brown. If I was to use this black brush on one of my brown boots, then I could potentially make those boots darker, and I don't want to do that. So have a dedicated brush for each color of boot or cream polish or wax polish that you have. All right, we're gonna open up this cream polish here. Cream polish is really nice and easy to apply. All you really do is just take the rag, wrap your finger around it, this is what I like to do, and then just dip it in the cream polish like that, get a nice glob on there, and then apply it to the boot. This is the part where I get excited because the boot just comes to life after this step. Just brings on an entire new personality. You might see an old worn pair of boots or have an old worn pair of boots yourself and be like, you know, those boots, they got character, but can they shine up and look new again? Yes, they can. This is how you do it. And of course, when you apply it the first time, it's gonna make the boot look dull, but that's what the brush is for. We're going to brush the cream polish in a second, and it's gonna shine up real nice. Just wait. All right, once we have the boot all covered with that cream polish, it's gonna look a little bit dull, but like I said, that's what the horsehair brush is for. And now we just brush it until it gets a little bit shinier. Whew, they're already looking nice and shiny. Nice. And they'll just keep shining up. These are gonna look epic. All right, let's grab a new rag, not the one that we use to apply the cream. We're gonna need a different one. This one looks good enough. A rag to buff it out will also increase the shine on top of the shine that you already got with the horsehair. So if you're looking for a really shiny boot, don't forget to buff with a rag after the horsehair brush. All right, I think we are reaching the point of diminishing returns. It will keep getting more and more shiny the more that you buff it, but you're only going to see small improvements after a point. That's pretty good. Now, the next step is one of my favorites, and that's the edge dressing along the outside of the heel and sole. And the reason why that's one of my favorites is because it will take this worn leather outsole and edge here and heel and make it look new. It gets kind of messy though if you're not careful. So what you want is some edge dressing like this. This edge dressing has a small cotton ball on the end that kind of holds all of that dye, that edge dressing that you're gonna put alongside the edge of the boot. And you wanna be careful because as you go along the edge, if you completely saturate that cotton swab in there, then it could get everywhere. It could get all over the boot that you just polished, and then you're gonna have to clean it up. It could get all over the table, it could get all over the floor. So it's messy. So what I like to do is put out another rag, or one of the ones that I was already using. This one's probably good enough. I like to put it out like this. I like to dip the edge dressing in there so it's completely saturated. Kind of tap it off a little bit there so you get off any of the extra drops. And then I kind of just like to roll it a little bit on the rag, just so you get a lot of the excess off. And then the rest is right in the cotton swab, and it's not gonna drip all over the place. So then we can just apply it to the heel and the edge of the sole. And this is why you want to be careful with it is because you don't want it running onto the leather of the boot, because then you got to clean it up. So to knock off the excess, edge dressing is a nice little thing to do. Because if I didn't, this would be so messy right now. And what this does, it will make the sole shine, that heel shine a little bit more, and it's going to protect the leather as well. And depending on how bad it is, you might need to do 2 coats. I find myself doing 2 coats frequently, and we'll see if this needs 2 coats as well. But I like to let it dry before I buff it. So we're gonna let it dry for a second, and then we're gonna come back and buff it so it shines. All right, once the edge of the outsole looks like it's starting to dry, it's becoming less glossy, less wet looking, that's when you can start to buff it. And it's gonna be a little sticky, so we're gonna try to get rid of some of that excess there while it's half dry, so that just in case I missed any spots, it will sort of even out so that one spot isn't more covered than the other. And I'm just gonna go along the edge here, real careful, because it's still a little bit wet and I don't want it to go onto the boot, onto the foot, because we already took care of that, and this is a different product. So we have it pretty much all covered. It's looking pretty dull, and that's what we want. So let's take the horsehair brush to it again, and just the heel and the edge this time, just to shine it up a little bit. And once you think that you've gotten it as shiny as possible with that horsehair brush, then go back to using the rag again and see if you can't make it any shinier. And if you want it to be really shiny, you can add another coat to this. I've done that before and made a heel super shiny, but I think we're only gonna do 1 layer this time. You can also do this edge dressing process with the cream polish if you wanted to. It probably won't get as dark. Another way that you can do it is with a wax polish, like a kiwi wax polish. I used to do that all the time before I started using the edge dressing. So a wax polish will work just as well. It might not last as long as the edge dressing, but it will still work and make those edges and heels shine up real nice. Oh man, this is looking great. All right, let's get this other boot in here. And wow, talk about some new life. This is the one that we just treated here. This is the one that we left untreated, so we can see the difference between them. And we can see that the color of the left boot is much more rich, much more lively than what it is on the right boot. And most of it comes from the edge as well. You can really tell a difference between those 2 toes, because the leather, the natural leather, is almost showing through the polish or the dye alongside the edge on the right boot. And of course we use that edge dressing to bring some color back into that toe as well here on the left boot. So it's looking much newer, much more well taken care of, and ready for anything. When you treat it like this, you're not only making it look better, but you're making it last longer too. So you're protecting that leather from the elements for a little bit longer until it starts to wear away, and then you have to do it again. But depending on how long you wear a boot or how much you wear a boot, you might not need to do it that often, maybe once a year. Maybe once every few months if this was like your everyday boot, but eventually you'd have to get them resoled, and you can, because this does have a Goodyear welt on it. So once this leather outsole runs through, you could get them resoled with another leather outsole or a rubber outsole, whatever you prefer. Just take them to your local cobbler. So that's basically my process of, bringing some life back into the boots. And I know Fryes are very popular. This is a great looking boot, and it looks even better after we've taken care of it, polished it, cleaned it, and put on the edge dressing as well. I'm also going to do this boot next, but I wanted to show you a side-by-side, a little before and after before I do, and I'll be sure to show what they look like new, both of them, both taken care of right now. What do you guys think? Thank you so much for watching today. If this was helpful, please subscribe. I'm doing content like this all the time, doing boot reviews, both female and male boot reviews. I do music videos. I'm here on YouTube providing content to help make your boot experience better and just your life better in general. And I would love to have you subscribe. Thank you so much for watching today, and I will see you guys around. Peace.
She got those fries that save us, knowing they'll clean up later. She was right, they shine up good to wear out at night, just like you should be able to. Yeah, she got those fries that save us. Thanks so much for watching today. Why don't you check out the quick impression review video that we did up here. Or I got a music video down here I think you might enjoy. Please subscribe while you're here, and I'll see you next time. Peace.